the new PMP today. Just before we get into the course or into the discussion, it's not a course, it's just informational, just an informational event. Before we get into it, we're gonna appreciate if you can take time to quickly answer some questions about where you're from and who you are. That's going to be great. So I've just launched the poll right now. So please, I will appreciate if you can take time to quickly go through those questions and answer them while I quickly introduce myself. So my name is Dejario, and I'm going to be your anchor today. So I'm not a facilitator today. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a consultant. So I'm none of those. I'm just going to be leading the discussion about the changes that we have coming on or that had already started within the PMP space. All right. So like I said, my name is Dejario. So I'm going to send you this slide. And again, you're going to have access to the video so you can learn more about my boring self. As you can see, quite a number of certifications out there, but they're all boring stuff. So let me not bore you with myself, and let's get into the discussion as soon as we can. Now, how can you get the best out of this particular information session? This is going to last for 1 hour. We will try to keep it within that time, and taking questions. I will not be able to take questions as I go. So the way we're going to take the questions would be for you to send your questions through the chat. I mean, there's a chat session part of Zoom. So please send your questions. So I will answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. So I would like to go through the presentation first, because sometimes you may have some questions. You may have some questions that may need to answer later on. That I may cover in the later slides. So it's better I take all the questions all at once. So the way we're going to go through the information session is to talk about what had changed or what will be changing. Then I will take the questions. See, the video recordings as well will be made available on our YouTube channel. So we normally advise that you subscribe to our channel so that when we post videos of webinars or some key concepts within management space, you're not going to miss out of those. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we're going to let you know as well as soon as we upload the today's video on the channel. And the presentation slides as well will be made available to you at the end of the session, probably today or latest first thing on Monday, because it's weekend. So first thing on Monday, yes, you should get the slides. And some people are writing on my screen. Please do not write on my screen. Please do not use any of the remote controls, because you're going to be distorting the information. All right. I think I forgot to disable that. All right. So, and you can contact us as well if you have any question outside of this particular session, because it's only for 1 hour. But if you need us to answer any of the questions that you may have that you feel may not have been answered, or you just remember the question after the session, please do get across to us on our website. You can chat with us, or you can send even offline message, and we do respond to you within one business working day. All right, 24 hours, but working day, may not be over the weekend, because sometimes, yes, we do respond over the weekend, but I cannot guarantee over the weekend. But working days, yes, we are very responsive. All right, great. Apart from that, please continue to fill in the poll just for us to meet you and get some little information about the people that are attending this particular session. All right. So what are we here to do today? Like I said, it's only for 1 hour, so we've got to maximize the use of that time. Today, I'm going to be talking about why the change. Because as you all know, I'm very sure you signed up to this particular session because you discovered that a lot of things are changing around PMI. and you want to know what may be changing and the implication for you. So today I'm going to be covering the change. I mean, why the change and what are these changes? You know, the changes are actually categorized into three, or we have categorized the changes into three. One, on exam; two, on PMBoK as a book; and three, sorry, and three, on the REP, that's the Register Education Providers, which have been changed to ATP right now. And then three, we're going to be talking about the implication and the options available to you and your next step. You see, so we've got only 4 things to cover today in our session. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start with why the change. Sorry, I'm going to just escape my screen because somebody wrote on my screen, so that I can erase that and yes, have a clean screen. Great. So why do we have the change or the changes that we're talking about at this point? Number one, you know, changes to PMI exam, to PMI books, or to the education provider program is not new at all. One, it is a process, or it is the process. Every 4 years, PMI normally changes the PMBoK based on feedback received from many practitioners like you and myself across the world, you know, just to reflect the current realities within the project management space in the project management body of knowledge. So if it is a body of knowledge, then it should reflect the day-to-day realities. But because if it doesn't reflect that, then people then see it as no longer being useful or being applicable to the normal day-to-day realities. So normally, PMI normally does these every 4 years, just to make sure that, yes, the entire standard or the body of knowledge is still correct. And at the same time, the change may not really align with the schedule or the timeline of the PMBoK updates, but sometimes they are always very close to each other. PMI as well normally changes the examination, you know, which they call ECO, that's exam content outline, which is pretty much like the syllabus, but very high level syllabus about the PMP exam. So they normally change that as well about every 4 years or so. So the two of them, somehow, they kind of, the update or the changes to any of them, they are kind of always close to each other, but not at the same time, you know, because the PMI has always tried not to make people believe that the entire PMP exam is based on PMBoK, as some people may feel, you know, but the exam had never been on PMBoK only. But though PMBoK had been one of those reference materials or books that people do use to actually prepare for the exam. Now, so the changes is not new. It's just one of those things that normally happens every 4 to 5 years, so it's not new. Then two, whatever we're getting right now, many of the changes that are happening at the moment, they're all based on feedback from the people taking the exam, from the pass rate, and from the quality of people that we even have, that we have holding the PMP certificates in organizations. Because many people pass the exam, but without even being able to manage a simple project. So much feedback from the market, talking about the quality of the courses that people do attend. And that's one of the major changes this year coming along that you may have learned about. Now, we're changing from REP to ATP, and for you to be able to teach or train the PMP concept within an ATP is just a company that had been authorized by PMI to deliver courses such as PMP, but there are so many other courses that are being handled, or products that are being handled by PMI. So PMP is just one of them, though the most popular. So some organizations are being authorized, not accredited, authorized to deliver such trainings to the public. So if you're going to be delivering PMP going forward for an ATP, then PMI must accredit you. So this is the first time PMI is bringing this on board. Bodies like APMG, Axelos, PIPUSA, they've always done that. They've always accredited their trainers. For instance, I'm an accredited trainer for many courses like Prince 2, Agile PM, ITIL, and so on and so forth. And for each of those products, with PIPUSAT, with APMG, with Axelos, I've always gone through a rigorous process for myself to get the accreditation to be able to deliver the courses. But PMI had never done that. PMI just assumes that anybody that has PMP should be able to train PMP. Now they've just discovered that that process is broken. And in order to fix that, and based on the feedback they're getting from the market, and based on the pass rate of PMP exams as well, now it has now become important to be sure of and to specify the minimum criteria that must be met for people to be able to deliver quality to the people in around the world. And why do we have these changes as well? The world is changing, and as you know, everything around us today is technology enabled. Some people are in the past, we have some technology companies or IT company, but now today, almost every company in the world is IT enabled. So many companies in the world, many governments in the world, we're going through a lot of IT transformation, digital transformation. And in order to make all of these digital transformation realities within our local environment or foreign environment or company environment, we cannot deliver these changes all at once. So Agile has gained more ground. Not that Agile is new. Agile is not new. There is nothing in Agile that we're talking about today that had not been around in the 60s, in the 50s. But the kind of focus on Agile today used not to be this much. So now there's so much focus on Agile because we need to be able to respond to changes like that and make sure that our organizations or even our products that we sell can align with the market realities and the market dynamics. So the key thing is we live in a VUCA environment. And I'm very sure a lot of you know the meaning of VUCA because it's one of those common terminologies that we all bounce around today. The environment that we live in right now is volatile. So we call that volatility. So we live in a very volatile environment, and in order to be able to respond to that, and please just, sorry, let me quickly say this. Please, please do not use video, yes, or else you may be distorting the screen. So please, we appreciate if you do not turn on your video. Now, next. So we have a volatile environment, and we all live in volatile environment, and everybody can testify to that. We all know the times that we live in right now, and uncertain as well. So we call this uncertainty. Uncertainty, very uncertain environment that we live in right now, and very complex environment. Complexity, many parts, many factors to deal with at the same time. And next, we live in highly ambiguous world. That's ambiguity. So there's so much ambiguity, so much unknown. In fact, people feel, the government should just tell us what to do right now. But even the government, they do not know what they're doing because nobody knows. So we live in highly VUCA environment. And in order to deal with that level of VUCA that we find ourselves in the world today, then we need to be agile. We need different approaches to managing projects. So those days are gone when most projects can be fleshed out from day one. And because of that, we need to reflect these changes in approaches to managing changes and to delivering products within enterprise or within the world to the realities of today. So these are the drivers of the changes that you may be reading about or hearing about when it comes to PMI today. And this particular change as well is to really buttress the fact that the PMP exam is not really the test of PMBoK. Because a lot of people feel, it's all about PMBoK. And I'm very sure you've heard about the changes coming that will be happening this year about the PMBoK, which is not released yet. But the key thing is PMBoK is just one one of many materials, one of many books that you need to understand, read and understand and apply in your day-to-day life for you to be able to pass the PMP exam. So the reason for the change, in summary, are these 4 main reasons. So please take note of that. So the changes that we are seeing today, definitely they are necessary to align whatever we have within project management to the current realities around the world. Now, let me just quickly say this again for people that may just be coming in right now. So please send your questions. But as you are sending the questions right now, I will not be able to read them. Not because I will not, but I wouldn't read them because I would like to take all the questions at the end. So please send any question that you may have. And like I said to people that came in earlier as well, we're covering only 4 things. Why do we need these changes, which I've just covered? And 2 is, what are these changes? What are these changes? Now, the changes, like I said, are into 3 parts. 1, the exam is changing. And this is where I want to pitch my tent today. It's all about the changes to the exam. Though I'm going to touch on the PMBoK and the rep thing, but my main focus is on the exam. So the exam is changing, PMBoK is changing, and the rep had already changed to ATP. And I'm going to be telling you a little bit about those changes. So 3 things are changing: exam, PMBoK, and rep. Let's start with the exam. So what exactly is changing in the exam? Number 1, like I said, the entire exam is based on the ECO. That's the exam content outline. The exam that expired, let me use the word expired, the exam that expired in December 31st, 2020, was based on this particular ECO. That's the exam content outline. And the one that we have from January the 2nd, is this one that I have on the board. Yes, sorry, let me just fix my pen. Yes, that's the one that I have on the board here. So for you to actually pass the exam, you need to understand the content that will be tested. And all of these contents, right, they are more. The PMBoK does not cover all the content, though the PMBoK covers some part of the content, but not all. And so from day one, from as far back as many years, I cannot really remember, PMP exam had not always only be based on the PMBoK. Now, what do we have in ECO? Now, the old one, this is the 2015 version, and this is the 2020 version, okay? So for the 2015 version, the exam is based on 5 domains. And for people that had attended our PMP course in Rebecca, we've always taken all our courses based on these, based on initiating. So we talk about that's the pre-project, the initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. So we've always based all our discussion on the process and what should be done within, or what can be done within the process based on the situation or the environment where you find yourself. Now, in 2020 exam content outline, these are changed to these. So instead of having or making arranging the way they expect you to understand project management from initiative to planning step by step, now they've made it based on people, process, and business environment. So what we used to call these is just that's the process. But does that mean that we've not been taking care of people in the past? Absolutely. We've always talked about people. Everything under people right now, we've talked about them, except for some few concepts that are coming from Agile, like servant leadership. So things like that, yes, probably we may not have gone very deep into them, right? And have we always covered business environment? Absolutely. For instance, in our Rebecca PMP courses, we've always covered that as part of strategy. So when we start our course, we start with the strategy. to really understand the environment where you find yourself as a project manager, because you cannot manage a project if you do not understand the environment. So you must know your company in terms of vision, mission, values, strategy, and all manner of other things like the PMO and how strategy is actually developed and implemented within your organization and many other aspects. So all of these, they're not new. So they are part of what we already teach. And that's why, just to give you a little hint, that the PMBoK for the exam for 2020 is still based on the current PMBoK. It's not based on the new one. And I'm going to be talking about that. So generally, whatever we have here is kind of rearrangement of the content, just to bring reminder to people about this. So this is not new. This has been there forever. For a long time now, that we call a PMI triangle or project managers triangle, that for you to be a great project manager, it's not just about this is what we call, the technical project management covers all of this: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. And while you're doing that, you're going to need quite a bit of knowledge areas to cover that. And we call that technical project management. But knowing that is not enough. In fact, that actually contributes less than 20% to your success as a project manager. But you being able to lead a team, being able to motivate and inspire people and work within the organization at all levels, working with the strategic guys, working with the middle guys like the head-offs, and working with the people at the bottom, working across the organization and leading a team even without having formal power. Because if all project managers do have formal power, life will be so easy that you just command people, commander control, guys sit down there and people sit down, people stand up and they stand up. Oh, project managers will like that. But many project managers do not have such formal power or what we call positional power. They don't, and we don't, in most cases. So how do we then get you to be able to lead a team of people that you do not have any formal control or formal power on? And all of this will require some level of servant leadership. And are these new? No, we've always talked about them. And you as a project manager as well, you should be able to understand business acumen, financial acumen, and know how to make decisions in the interest of the organization. Because I see a lot of project managers, like I normally say in my classes, that they are just the yes sir guys or how far guy, how far. That's what they do around, and they call themselves project managers. They are not, because they don't really understand so much about business. It's all about, they said I should do it, then I'm going to do it. You see, so a typical project manager must have competencies around technical project management, leadership, and strategy and business management. So let me go back to that slide. That's what we're talking about here. So what we call people is the leadership part, what we call process is the technical part, and the business environment is the business and strategic part. So there's nothing new, guys. So it's not like, project management is changing. Project management is not changing. Project management is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It's all about getting things done. So nothing is changing. Though the reality may change, though the environment may change, though the size or the factors within a particular project may affect the outcome, but the key thing is project management is the same. You see, so getting success out of project absolutely will require anybody managing it to be fully aware about how to lead people, how to take things step by step and get things done, and within a business environment. Okay, and these are the percentages or the weightings of the questions coming in the exam. Around this. Now, what then brings a little bit of complexity? What then brings a little bit of complexity to this entire discussion is the fact that half of the exam will represent predictive approaches, and half of the exam will represent agile or hybrid. So some people have taken the exam. I've asked some people that have taken the exam last week. They said even the agile questions are more. They are more than the predictive, though I do not know, but from the ones I've spoken with, they confirmed to me that there were so many agile questions in the exam. So most of the questions that you may have been dealing with, most of them are gone. And before, most of the questions were just on processes, on techniques, on this, on that. But now, in fact, one of them that confirmed to me yesterday mentioned that there was no calculation. You know, before we used to cram a lot of formula. Remember that, remember this. No, in fact, he confirmed to me yesterday, no calculation at all in the exam. So many of the things that we used to take serious, many of them are gone. So many situational questions, and they're painting a lot of picture about what would you do in agile environment? What would you do if this project is using iterative or adaptive or incremental approach? So you must know how to tailor whatever we're doing within initiating, planning, executing to agile environment. So that means you've got to understand agile in and out in detail, not just introduction now, in detail. Because most of the digital transformation that are happening around the world, they are really around agile space. And so you're going to be managing people, managing process within those environments. So you've got to understand that. So the exam is pretty much agile and waterfall, but a lot of questions will be coming around agile, which was not the case in the past. And like I said, please keep sending your questions, and I will take the questions at the end of my presentation. Okay, then I added this here. This is IPMA, and PMI aligns. PMI aligns with IPMA. That's IPMA. IPMA is International Project Management Association, which is the highest level of project management in the world. So PMI aligns with that. And whatever we're talking about here, as per the exam as well, aligns with what IPMA is saying about project managers. That for you to be a great project manager, you must understand, you must have some contextual competencies, which we call business environment. And you must have the technical competency, which we call the process or technical project management. And you must have the behavioral one, which we call leadership. So there are many competencies that you need to be aware of and that you need to be great at for you to be able to deliver success in a project. So in summary, right, I cannot see so much changing. So, though you have to then understand some things more, but whatever we're talking about here, it's not really big changes, but what is happening is, yes, some changes are coming, but they're not new. Now, generally, we cover project management like this, simple, right? From initiating to planning to implementing to closing, and then implementation means executing and monitoring and control. So many people, based on the way the ECO structure used to be, sorry, let me come back to this ECO structure here. Based on the way it used to be, people used to just take it this simple. Like just after initiating, you go to planning, after planning, you go to executing, then you go to monitoring and controlling, and then you close. So people kind of take it too easily. And we normally tell them, even in our classes in Arabica, that it's not this simple. It's not at all. This is the reality. And we've always taught this, that the reality is that there's so much overlap. So initiating, planning, monitoring and controlling, executing, they are all happening at the same time. So for people to then believe that, it's so simple, it's all initiating, planning, whatever, no way. So because people misunderstood that, and because of the quality of trainers, because of the quality of instructors around the world who do not really understand what they're saying and confusing people and making people to have a wrong understanding of the concept, that's why PMI had just removed that. Let's not confuse people, because people are going around telling people what is not true in reality. But whatever is happening right now, it's not a change, it's the reality, normal life, right? But it's just because of wrong instructors, very horrible ones, who do not really understand what they're doing. And that's why PMI is saying that for people to be able to teach PMP, that you can trust, that you can put some level of trust in, or that you can have confidence in, then, sorry, you cannot raise hand, I cannot take questions, you must send your questions in the chat, and I will answer all the questions at the end. So sorry, I do not take questions. All right, so now, I do not allow people to talk for this session because it's only 1 hour. All right, so because of these kind of situations that normally, that had been going on, And now we've just removed, PMI, I just removed those. And so that means when you then start a project, it's your job to then understand at the beginning, how much of initiating work do you have to do? How much of the executing work do you have to do? Because sometimes you find yourself in an agile environment where you have to even do a pilot, proof of concept at the beginning. So you're executing from the beginning, even before you can even plan the entire project. You see, so it's not as simple as people may feel or may think. It depends on the situation where you find yourself that will determine whether how much is about the how much of initiating, how much of planning, how much of executing and monitoring and control and even closing can happen from the beginning. So it's not as simple as people may make this look. So this is just to let you know that this is not new, and because we've always taught this in our classes to let people know that it's not as simple as it is. But when we start to teach people, we start by teaching people this. And this is just at CAPM level. For people who are just at foundation level, they just want to understand the foundation of project management. They're not really managing project yet. Yes, we take it small, slow, initiating, planning. Yes, we know that. But if you're really managing stuff, real stuff, absolutely, it's a different ball game. Next. Then the new ECO as well, still in the ECO. The new ECO, this is where, this is how it used to be, 2015, and this is 2020. Now, that's 2020, 2015. Now, in 2015, we just have the initiating, planning, and so on and so forth, and the task that they expect a typical project manager to be able to perform within those project process phase or phases, each of them. Now, in the new one, we then only have 3: people, process, and business environment. Now, for the people, this is just an example, so you can go on PMI website and download the examination content. If you download the examination content, you're only going to find 3 domains. That's the people, process, and the business environment. So picking the people one, you're going to have this domain, that's the people domain, and you're going to have task. And within the task, they talk about some enablers, some of the things that you need to know or that you need to be aware of, right, as a project manager. In managing people, for instance, in managing people, you must be able to manage conflict, because if people will always behave themselves, life will be so easy, so simple. Even looking at what is happening around the world over the last 3 days, if people can just behave themselves, we're not gonna have trouble. We're not gonna have wars around the world. But now we have conflicts, we have war around, within our teams and within countries. So you must be able to manage conflict as a leader. You must be able to lead a team. You must be able to support team performance, and you must be able to empower team. So quite a number of things that they expect you to be able to do as tasks. You must be able to do them. And some of the enablers, some things that will enable you to do them well, some of the things that you need to know. So in the new syllabus, it's not just task and just generic stuff. They give indications of some enablers that can help a project manager to be great at performing any of those tasks within the domains. Now, for the for the domain task and enabler that I've just talked about, please look at the complexity here. Please just watch this. Now look at these enablers. Look at the enablers. That's where the work is. It says the enablers are the illustrative examples of work associated with the task. Work associated with the task. Please note that the enablers are not meant to be exhaustive list, but rather offers few. Look at that, few examples to help demonstrate what that task encompasses. So that means that even if you look at the ECO, is still like high level. For me, sorry, I forgot to tell you when I started, I like to use the word nonsense, right? So it's like high level. So the exam high level nonsense, right? Like the exam can go further than that. So the list is not exhaustive at all. Then we then put a little bit of pressure on you to then find out what are the other parts that they've not included in the ECO. Though the domains are clear, the tasks are clear, but the enablers are not. So this is where the entire complexity is, because there are many frameworks There are many models. There are many techniques. There are many tools around the world that can help those things. So PMI cannot list all the tools, all the techniques, all the models, all the frameworks, all the techniques, yes, that can help you in performing those tasks. So it's only few. They only give an indication of these are the things that you got to be aware of for now, but it's not exhaustive, and that's where the problem is. Okay, but I'm going to be talking about that later on. So, how many questions do we then have on that exam? So what I've just talked about is the content of the exam, right? Which I'm going to be coming back to later. And please keep sending your questions. Now, how many questions do we have in the new exam? In the old exam, we used to have 200 questions for 4 hours, 240 minutes. But now, the exam questions had been reduced to 180. You see, in the past, out of the 200 questions, only 175 are scored. In the past, only 175 are scored. So 25 questions were there just for their, they're pretty much like we call them trial questions or dummy questions, just for PMI to test those questions on people to see how people perform on them before they are allowed, before they are included in the exam database. Now those questions have been reduced to 180. But look at that, but the same questions will be scored, meaning 175. The same number of questions we used to score will still be scored. It means that 5 of them will still be like dummy questions. We are still dummy questions. So the 175 that are scored have not changed. It's still 175 that will be scored out of 180. And now the time had been reduced from 240 minutes to 230 minutes. So they've reduced the time by 10 minutes, but they've reduced the question by 20. So it's all good. As per timing, it's all good, right? And now you can take 10-minute break, 2 10-minute breaks, so you can schedule your break when you start your exam. So you can take 10-minute break, say after 1 hour, and then take another 10-minute break after 1 hour, and then probably finish it off. Or after 1 hour, 15 minutes. But it's all up to you to schedule your 2-minute break. Your 2 10-minute break. If you are taking the exam at home, that's the online proctored. But if you are going to an exam center to write the exam, that's paper-based, because in some countries they still take the exam as paper-based. So as paper-based, there is no break scheduled in between. Okay. Now the questions will be combinations of many question styles, and that's one of the complexities. This is one of the new complexities. Included, or that had been added, another complexity layer that had been added to PMP exam. Before, it used to be classic multiple choice. They ask you a question, they give you options they ask you a question and give you option A, B, C, D. And only one option is always right. And then you just tick the right option, all right? So simple. Or if you're writing paper-based exam, you shade the right questions. But now we now have a combination of many question styles, like multiple choice. That's the way it used to be. But now we now have additional questions that are used in the exam. Though from what I heard up till now, PMI said it's going to be only about 5% of the exam questions, right? 5% of the overall exam. That's the new question styles. So they're not going to be that many in the exam, right? But they can be there. And if you go on PMI website, they use the word may. So sometimes you may find them, and sometimes you may not find them. But even if you're going to find them, they're not going to be that many. So please do not panic. So that should not really change so much, because even if you miss those new question format, 5%, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to fail. All right. So that's why they only include few, not many of them. So it has not transformationally changed like that. But absolutely, you should be expecting some of these examination style, new exam style of questions, and I'm going to be covering them in few minutes. Now, the new exam as well, some good things to take note of. Number one, the processes are out. You see all of those initiating, planning, though they are still there, but they are not like they've not made any big deal of them any longer. So all of those ITTO that you used to memorize, number one, number two, I remember even my last PMP course in December, we were telling people, you've got to know all of these steps, step by step in planning, number one, number two, number three, number four, so you must know some things in sequence. But now all of those, memorizing those sequences or remembering those sequences in terms of input, tools, techniques, output, they're all gone. So you don't need to do that. So all you just need to do right now, all they expect you to know is to understand project management. Project management. And don't forget, the entire PMP exam, I think I need to rush now. The entire PMP exam is actually the test of your experience, not the test of knowledge. It's a test of experience. So it's not about what you can memorize. It's not about what you can cram. It's not about using DOMs. It's about you understanding project management. In fact, if somebody has good experience in managing all types of projects, whether agile or hybrid or waterfall, you don't really need to read anything. You will pass the exam once. So it's a test of experience. So now all of those memory stuff, knowledge areas, processes, ITTOs, they're all gone. And what is not so good means that you don't need to study more if you do not have so much experience. But if you have experience, you don't need to study so much, because you have the experience. And so what the testing really is experience, not cramming stuff. Okay. And PMBoK is not the only source of the it's not the only reference book. So now to make it complex again, based on your experience again, you've got to read as many books as possible. And these lists are not exhaustive. 10 books, including PMBoK. So the PMBoK that is still being tested in 2021, the PMBoK that is tested in 2021 is the 6th edition. That is the 6th edition. So it has not changed, because the 7th edition is not out yet. So don't let anybody confuse you. The exam for this year is still based on the 6th edition. So the 7th edition will come out later this year, but please take note, but the current exam is still based on that. And then the Agile guide in the PMBoK guide, that about 1,000-page document, and some other books here. So as you can see quite a bit of them. We have Agile, and we have planning approaches, and we have fundamentals of technology, because the reality in the world today is the digital transformation. So you're going to find yourself managing a lot of digital transformational projects, and technology projects. So for instance, if you are a project manager who had done quite a number of agile courses, not just Scrum, the grown-up ones like DSDM, that's Agile PM, and SAFe, and you've done things like ITIL, and ITIL. So none of these will be new to you. So everything they have in the exam are the ITIL, they are the Agile stuff. So they've not created any new thing. It's just what reality we have in the world today is reflected in the exam. So the exam style, quickly. The exam style of question, we have questions like this. This is the way it used to be, a question like this, and then you have the option to pick from. Now, they've just introduced 2 or multiple. This can be 2 or more, not just 2. Like, they're going to give you a list of options, and they can ask you to select multiple answers. For instance, here now, they're asking you to select 2 answers, 2 answers. So, I'm not sure how they score it, because they've not given any guidance on that, but I picked this from Prince 2. Now, from Prince 2, when they ask for 2 multiple choices, now, if the answer is AB, let's assume that the answer is AB, and then you chose, all right, and you chose AC, or you chose AD, or you chose AE, or you chose BC, or you chose BD, or you chose BE. Here, you're going to score 0. You're going to score 0 because the 2 right answers are AB. So for you to score 1 point, you must get the AB right. So, that's the way it's scored. So that one as well can be a little bit complex. So you must be able to eliminate that can never be there. That can never be there to find the right answer or the right answers. So one of the question styles now is multiple responses. So you can pick 2 or more. So they can ask for 2, they can ask for 3, for 4 from a list. That's 1. Then 2. There's now matching question style. What is matching? Now they give you a column like this, and then they ask you to map it. which one will come first, which one will come second, or whatever. So you can match from one column to another column. So these are 3 questions that you can, and then you pick your answer from another column. So we call that matching. And then next, they can ask you for drag and drop. So they can put some things here for you to drag and drop. Like we have all of these, and then they can ask you to match it here. When do you identify stakeholders? We identify stakeholders in initiating. When do you monitor engagement? In monitoring. When do you manage engagement? In executing. When do you plan this? In this. When do you control? In control. You see, so you are dragging them. You are dragging them into the boxes. So on your screen in exam, you're going to be dragging. You're going to use your mouse, or you're going to use the pad to drag it into that box to match that as well. And another set of questions is hotspot. Like here, I'm very sure they're talking about risk. It's just one of the prototypes. So they're talking about risk, and when we calculate EMV is equal to P times I, that's the probability multiplied by impact, that's the impact, that's the probability, and then they give you a question, you calculate it, and then you write the answers into those boxes, right? And then we call this hotspot. So there are questions that may be coming like this in the exam. And again, we have some hotspot question types as well, like these, where they give you Excel, or they give you Word, but mostly Excel, like these, like risk log or issue log or risk register or issue register, where they want you to actually write something like if it's medium times high, what would that be here? And if it's this odd, they even ask you to write owner, but they could have provided you with a story or with the scenario. And then they then ask you to write inside the text, because up to now, PMI had not been testing people actually whether they can do the job. They just say, do you know what risk log is? What should you be in a risk log? Now complete it, do it. Because we want to know whether you have the experience of doing it. So the exam is a little bit more complex, from these question types. And you can take the exam, 2 options. You can take the exam in person view, or you can take it at home. That's online view, all right? So you can take it at home, or you can take it in a test center. And please, I will advise you before you take the exam that you try this whiteboard. Please go to these links, URL, to practice the whiteboard, because in exam you cannot use extra paper. So you've got to use the whiteboard provided to you, and the whiteboard that they use in exam, they are on these links. So please go there to practice there, and those will help you for the exam. And then now, what about the PMBoK? What about the PMBoK? A lot of things are changing in the PMBoK. Like I said, the PMBoK version 7 is not going to affect the current exam. In fact, as we heard, it's not going to come into force until 2022. So please don't bother yourself at all. All right, don't let it bother you. If you intend to write your exam this year, forget about PMBoK version 7. Okay, so the current one, the one that the exam is based on, is the current version, though with some extra books about Agile and IT. All right, and if you want to know more about the PMBoK guide and what is going to be changing, I put the link here. So if you're a member of PMI, or you're a member of projectmanagement.com, that's owned by PMI as well, yes, you're going to have access to these 4-part webinars that discuss, the 4 of them, they discuss the entire changes that you can expect in the new PMBoK. And from what they said, I took screenshots. As you can see, they are not sharp. I took screenshots from the webinar videos. So everything that we have in the new PMBoK, everything that we have in the new PMBoK, they're coming from Prince 2, IPMA, Praxis, and some other areas, as you can see. So many of the things, to be honest, I was surprised when I began to see them. They kind of copy Prince 2, right? To be honest, they are not new at all, because we've always been asking, why do PMI think like this? Because Prince 2 kind of think in a detailed way, or in a way that's a little bit more practical sometimes. So many of the things they're kind of taken from Prince 2 now. So yes, so the PMBoK that you have that will be coming out, all right, we have 2 sections. That's the standard and the guide to the PMBoK itself. The standard will include introduction and valid delivery. But again, we're gonna organize another webinar to talk about the changes in PMBoK, since it doesn't affect the current exam. So I would like to pass now, so I will not talk about these. Go to those videos. You're going to find them there. You're going to find all of those. I took the screenshot there. When is the release date? The release date has not been communicated by PMI, but I went on Amazon. I went on Amazon. Amazon said it's going to be available 30th of March, and then I can even pre-order right now. So I want to take it as it's going to be available by April, right? And people believe that, yes, it's going to be available by the end of Q1 or first in April. So yes, I believe Amazon. So they could have given their word to Amazon for them to put it on their site that you can pre-order the PMBoK guide right now. And the PMBoK guide is a lot simple. I mean, it's a lot smaller now, from 1,000 pages to about 250 pages now. Yes, and the reason is they now have another site called PMI Standards, where they have the detail, and which is free for all members. I mean, that's PMI Standard. Now, what about the PMI ATP? The PMI ATP program. The PMI ATP program is for the authorized training program. And for you to join the ATP program, and let me quickly say here, we are not ATP yet, but we submitted our application. So before the end of the month, we should become ATP. So yes, so you can trust us. Now, for you to be an ATP, we used to be rep. We did not renew for a couple of years, but now we are back on track. Now, for you to be an ATP, yes, you must use the PMI developed content. You see, let me quickly tell you this. I may just overspill about 10 minutes more, okay? But let me tell you this because this is very, very important. Now, you see, one of the changes why we're changing a lot right now is because of the quality of the training that people get, all right? Now, every ATP in the world must use the same slide developed by PMI. PMI develops the slide, and they cover all of those 10 books. They cover the 10 books. So you do not need to read the 10 books. So we're going to have the entire slides that will cover the 10 books. So you do not need to worry at all. But that comes at a cost, okay? And all the instructors that will be training you in an ATP, any ATP in the world, they've gone through the TTT, the train the trainer session with PMI in order to know how to deliver the course in a consistent way. You know, and one of the things as well, I mean, many things here that you can read, but one of the things is there are 2 levels of ATPs. 2 levels of ATPs. One level is basic and one level is premier. You know, the basic, they wouldn't have 200 questions from PMI to use for your mock exam. But if you sign up with to a premier one, you know, we're gonna be premier. No, you're gonna have 200 questions cloned from the real database that can give you some level of confidence that you can pass the exam. Because one of the problems PMI has is people not passing the exam. Why? Because of the quality of training that they've got. You know, and no manner of nonsense dumps out there. You know, so if you sign up to an ATP, I mean, with an ATP, yes, you're going to be getting all the material. So you do not need to worry yourself, right? And so the ATPs, they will have all of these badges. We do not have that yet, but before the end of the month, we would have that badge. Now, what about the implication? Like I said to you, I'm going to tell you about, I mean, why did the change, what is changing, and the implication to you. What's the implication? Cost implication. First, you will have to pay the exam fee. The exam fee is not changing. That is, if you are a non-member. If you're a member, you pay a reduced fee. And now, if you are attending a course with an ATP, they now force ATP to pay some money for you. I mean, in order for you to have your student material. So all your material as well will be coming from PMI directly into your membership account. So it's not coming from us. So we do not give you almost nothing. So they're coming from PMI and all the workbooks and all the questions. So you can be guaranteed that no matter what, if you do what you have been asked to do, you are most likely to pass the exam. Though you can take the horse to the river, you cannot force the horse to take water. You know, so there is more assurance for picking an ATP. Or you can decide to choose the PMI self-study course, but that will not give you the 200 questions. It's just the video, because no ATP in the world today, no ATP is allowed to do e-learning any longer. You cannot do e-learning. You must only teach online like this, or you teach in a class. So the only e-learning that is approved in the world is coming from PMI, and that for now is $699, and that's discount up to April. From April, it's going to become $799. All right, but our courses will even be cheaper than that. So I'm going to wonder why you want to do that without having all the other material and the questions, okay, and without being able to ask anybody questions. So for the ATP fee, which could have been bunched into the fee that you're going to be paying around the world today, I did research. The cheapest, that's even the basic, the ones that do not have the 200 questions, the basic today is $600, and it can get up to this. We should be cheaper than that a little bit. All right, we should be. And yes, we should be cheaper than that. So when you choose us, and I would like to know, just as I'm talking right now, how much would you like to pay? Please, I would like to know the maximum you'll be willing to pay. Please quickly go ahead. I've just enabled that poll right now. So that is if you want to take PMP exam or you want to take PMP training, what's the maximum you can pay based on wherever you are around the world, right? So, but definitely it's not cheap, because there are many layers of fees right now, and even the money that is being paid by the ATP to PMI is really gone up like ×3 now. So. And all of these costs will be passed down to the students. All right, nobody will bear it. Government will not pay it. So it's going to be coming to you as well. So just to let you know that PMI certifications are no longer cheap at all. If you can be guaranteed of passing, it's no longer cheap. And time and effort, absolutely, you have to spend more time. But if you find a good ATP, at least that will reduce the amount of time that you need to spend. But if you want to go alone to read all of those books, minimum, you're going to be spending 200 hours, and there's no guarantee that you're going to pass at all. And now, what's the next step for you? The next step is, number one, if you have attended PMP class with us at Rebecca, most of the things that we have in the new exam, we've covered everything. We talked about Agile. We talked about all manner of things in the class, even beyond the PMBoK. All right. So you may not really, you may not need to attend another course. But you must understand Agile in more detail than we went through in the class. You must, right? So normally you can talk to us. We can enable the Agile. We can enable our Agile course and Scrum course for you, the recorded one from the classes at a small fee. Absolutely, it's not free. Sorry, and that can help. Or you need to read all the Agile part of PMBoK and the tailoring part of the Agile in the PMBoK. Because every knowledge area has the Agile consideration. So please, you've got to read all of those, and you can ask us more questions after this session, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. So if you have attended our course before, about 70% of the course has been covered, but there are still some work to be done. And if you have attended a course with another provider, I will advise you to attend a new course with an ATP or buy the self-help video, and that's the self-study video from PMI, or e-learning from PMI. And if you are new to PMP, you have never even taken any course on PMP, that's quite easy. Just find ATP and attend the ATP. All right, that's the best for you. Or you use the self-study course from PMI. All right. Yes, and the alternatives as well. If you feel this is too much for you, just too complex, or you may just go for some other courses as well, like we teach, Scrum, Agile PM, that's DSDM, Prince2, ITIL, business analysis, and many more. So you can check our website. There are many alternatives, because at the end of the day, the certificate does not make anybody. I know we talk about the certificate, I know it. We talk about the certificate, but nobody gets job or gets increment in pay because it just asks PMP. So let's not overemphasize that. All right, so the entire thing is the knowledge and being able to translate the knowledge to reality. That's the main thing here. All right, and I think I have come to the end of my discussion about this, and thank you for completing that survey. Please, if you have not done that, please complete it. And let me quickly spend some few minutes to answer the question. That's about 1 hour. Sorry, there's so much to say about those changes, and I think I'm done with those right now. So I can take the questions that you've been sending. Yes, I can take those and end the poll. And let me just share another one with you. This is just the last poll. All right, while I take your questions. I think some people are writing on my screen. Please do not write on my screen, okay? Or else yes, I will not be able to see some few things. All right, thank you. Let me take your questions now. Just give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Let me find the question. Keep, yes. Let me find the questions coming in. Okay, I think the question, I'm not sure it was populated here. I said it should be populated here so that I can quickly answer them. Okay, yes, it was populated. All right, great. All right, great. Okay. So I'm going to be taking the questions that you've asked. They are on the screen right now, and I'm very sure you can still see that that screen. Yes, that screen. Okay. So I'm going to quickly answer those questions, and please keep sending your questions to me, and then the questions will be added. So I came in late. Please explain the concept of agile environment. Sorry, this particular webinar did not really explain agile environment. We had a webinar some time ago. It's on our YouTube channel. So please, you can listen to that particular webinar, and it will tell you about agile. All right, the agile environment, and you can attend our course as well on agile. So this particular information session is not about explaining agile. So but we had a particular webinar to explain that, and you can go on our YouTube to listen. So how do we prepare for the agile aspect of the exam? I think I've answered that. So to prepare for the agile side, one, you can attend a course with an ATP, or you can come to us as well. And we have some agile courses content that we can provide you with. And so, yes, that's the best way to prepare for the agile. To be honest, to prepare for the agile is more than what we have in PMBoK, absolutely. So I will advise that minimum, you should understand it, minimum up to DSDM level. Okay, come on. Up to, why is it not writing? Up to D. Okay, it's not writing any longer. I'm wondering why it is not writing. Okay, but up to DSDM level, yes, that's Agile PM. So because you must understand Agile in depth. Yes. Next, does your training material explain detail about Agile? And do you have any sample questions? Yes, absolutely. When we become ATP, we're going to have the 200 cloned questions from PMI. So yes, absolutely yes. So yes, all you need to pass the exam, all will be provided to you with no additional material if you attend our course as an ATP. Yes, and some of us took this course in August and want to do the exam in February. We will be allowed to train for free? No. Yes, every discount, yes, but for free, no. Why? Because there are some specific costs that we need to pay to PMI for every trainee, every student, and we cannot bear that at all. So every discount, yes. Free, no. Next, how much does the examination cost? I think I've answered that question. Yes, I took. And the exam is on the exam cost is on PMI website, $555. I took the PMP training long before the exam was changed. What would you advise best way to go about preparing and studying for the new exam? I think I talked about that as well in my final slide, that you will need to attend a refresher course, whether that's the PMI self-study, or you attend another course with an ATP. So it seems to be a very good time to take the PMP exam. Experience is now prioritized above knowledge. Oh, yes. Yes. To validate your experience in project management, yes, taking PMP exam can be very great. Would you recommend to take the PMP certification exam if you already have Prince 2, especially job search visibility in Canada? Yes. If you're going to Canada specifically, some people do ask for PMP, but most job adverts, and you can check as well, all of these job boards in Canada, they do project management certification PMP/Prince 2. So you may not need to bother yourself, but if you lose nothing as well by having both, so instead of having one, you can have both. For me, I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting at all. I've got over 30 of them, over 30, so I've got Prince 2, PMP, and minimal around project management. So I would advise you to go for PMP. It's part of development, absolutely. Next, I want to start the training and take the exam afterwards. How much will it cost for both the for guidance for Rebecca. Now we're gonna have the complete information on our website. We have some there right now, but it's gonna change. I can tell you that what we have there is 150, but I'm very sure it's gonna increase a little bit by the time we get our ATP, but it's gonna be a little bit. So yes, please just check our website before the end of the month. You're gonna have the updated information, or you can just text us or call us or chat with us. We're going to be able to answer you that question. What's the likely cost of training and exam? You know, like I said, definitely it's going to be more than 150 for training. I mean, I can tell you that authoritatively. It's going to be more than 150, and the exam does not change. Same fee, $555. So it's quite expensive right now. Quite expensive, I tell you. So are the 200 questions related to the new changes? Exactly, yes. To the new changes, absolutely yes. And with your ATP accreditation coming up, would advise one way to, yes, I will advise you wait. To be honest, even if you have scheduled your exam, if you can change the exam, please do wait. To be honest, because the old questions are gone. You know, from all the feedback I've got last week on the new exam, they are gone. So they are all new questions. So please, if you can wait, that would be great, so that you can get access to the new set of questions that you can trust, not just any set of questions. The questions from PMI that you can trust, not from us. Next, what are the implications for those who have paid for the application and exam last year? Do we have to pay additional fee? No, for the exam fee has not changed. So it's still the same exam fee. You may need to pay additional fee to just take yourself up to the level of knowledge to pass the new exam. That's the only additional fee that you may be incurring here. Or you can just, the fee can just be your effort reading those 10 books. So you can choose to read the 10 books, or you can choose to attend an ATP program. So now you now have a very hard decision to make. Yes, about the exam itself. All right, I think those are the only ones I have here. Let me check the chat now to see the ones that may not have been updated. The one that may not have been updated. I took the exam last year but didn't pass. Okay, no, sorry. Let me just get to where the last that was updated. Okay, yes, I think I've just taken that. So send in the last poll. Oh yeah, okay. Then I'm just looking at the other questions. Okay, I want to start the training and take the exam as soon as possible. How much will it cost for both the guidance of Rebecca? Like I said to you, I cannot give you a particular price right now, but definitely for both training and exam, training will be more than 150K. Absolutely, it will be more, a little bit more, and the exam fee is same. And the more, I mean, about 150 plus K will cover all the material and everything you need to pass the exam. Then when will the 7th edition take effect? Taking effect maybe, I mean, what we heard from people around PMI and around the world is going to be 2022, but there's no official statement from PMI, but definitely it wouldn't affect the exam in 2021. Absolutely, I'm sure of that. Hi, Deji, can we get the video up on the LMS portal? Yes, I mean, yes, I wouldn't really understand that question fully. Can we get this video? Oh, this video? No, this video is going to be on YouTube. We're going to be uploading this video on YouTube, and we're going to send all of you the link latest by Monday. And do you provide online training for those outside Lagos? Yes, in fact, all our courses, because of COVID, had moved on, I mean, online like this. So we hold our courses on Zoom, and it's always very interactive as well. So you will enjoy it. So yes, Kemi, yes, the answer is yes to that. I took the exam last year, December, but didn't pass. Sorry about that. How would you advise I take the exam again? To be honest with you, the best advice I can give to you right now is to attend a course with an ATP. Do not chance it again, please. Because you're going to have everything you need to pass the exam right from from PMI themselves. So if I'm taking PMP training with HTI, will I be trained in depth in Agile? Yes, everything you need to know in Agile, you're going to know. Absolutely. And how much is your training? Like I've answered that question. The cost itself definitely will be more than 150K, a little bit, but not fully set for now. And we communicate that to you as soon as we can. Is there any change in the PDU? No, there's no change in the PDU for now. Any specific qualification required for PMP? No qualification, only experience. 36-month experience. That's equivalent to 3-year project management experience. So when you are completing your form, you need to complete those experience, based on the project that you've managed for 3 years. Over the last 13 or 15 years of your life, at least you must be able to come up with 36-month experience in of project management. Somebody said I failed previous PMP and the IBA, but needed to retake them at the time. But please, what cost implication? The cost implication for both, please, I will advise to get back to my team. My team will be able to break it down for you. So I may not be able to give you exactly the cost of all of this right now. And will you recommend Rita's 10th edition as part of the study material? To be honest, I'm always a fan of Rita. I mean, when I took my PMP many years ago, I read Rita myself. So that was the only book I read within 1 week, and I went to write the exam and I passed. So I never did any dump or anything. I only answered the question in Rita's book. So forever, I will always recommend Rita if you can get it as well. Though I'm not then sure the new edition, I've not checked it, whether it covers everything. So I cannot guarantee that, because PMI specifically mentions that no ATP can write book any longer. No ATP can produce e-learning any longer. So you only train, you only train. So I'm not sure whether they're going to be allowed to include the new, the PMI specific content. So I'm not sure of that, right? I'm not. But as part of companion text, you may be able to use that, but the real stuff from PMI, I'm very sure it wouldn't include that at all, because PMI said they are the only one that have the right and the copyright to their content, and even for every student, we must pay for every student to be able to access those digital content. Okay, for how much can we access your previous Agile training? Please get across to us on our website, chat with us, send us email. We will be able to tell you exactly how much that will be, because I cannot just give you one blanket cost for now. Please get across to us and we will be able to help. Can people outside Nigeria take the ATP training for PMP? Absolutely. Wherever you're based around the world, yes, you can take it because all our trainings are online. That's on Zoom, and you're going to enjoy it. Very, very interactive. Not like this webinar where you are not allowed to talk. Well, but in our trainings, yes, you can. We interact a lot, and yes, and you're going to enjoy it. I missed the part you talked about when the organization hopes to become ATP. When they want to become ATP, to be honest, the information is on PMI website, because now this one is not about becoming ATP just as a student. So please check PMI's website, or we're gonna send the slides to you and you can use the slide. But the best information portal is PMI website itself, that will answer every question you have about ATP. And if you still do not understand it, you can give them a ring. I still called them yesterday and they will be able to explain some things to you. So what is your advice between taking Scrum and PMP? To be honest, all of them, okay? All of them. So they all have their advantages. They all have their pros and cons. So I will advise all of them. Like I said to you, sorry, I'm not boasting. I've got more than 30 of them. So all of them. I missed some parts of this discussion. Please, what's the full meaning of ATP? Authorized Training Provider. That's the ATP. Authorized, that's the PMI authorized training providers, and they're going to provide us with all the necessary content and materials that you need to pass the exam, including questions. Please share your contact number for inquiries. Yes, please. Our contact number is 002. If you're in Nigeria, 002-839-1360. 0802 839-1360. So you can contact us on that, or come on our website. There are many other channels you can reach us through. How much is the refresher cost? To be honest, we'll come back to you on that. Please get across to us. We're going to be getting across to you as well. We all have your contact details, so we're going to send that to you as soon as we finalize that and we get the accreditation, the authorization from PMI. We're going to be communicating that to everybody. How long will the refresher course take? Absolutely, it's a full course. It's going to be a full course, so minimum 35 hours. And can people outside Nigeria take your training? Absolutely. We have people taking our training from the UK, from Canada, from Australia, from US. So we have people joining our courses all around the world. So it's global. So it's not just Nigeria. I paid for the exam last year. Any issue? No issue. If you paid last year, it's still the same thing. What's the major advantages of CBAP over PMP? Now we're going to have another session for CBAP. Please keep an eye out. We're going to be sending the information very soon, within the next few weeks, for CBAP. I'll be able to answer that question in CBAP, because CBAP is just business analysis, which is a little part of, it covers a little part of PMP, but PMP is in-depth project management itself, but the business analyst, they do more than project. They work before project and they work after the project as well. So the business analyst job covers pre-project, project, and post-project. But PMP only covers mostly the project itself. All right. Hello, Deji. Yes, hello. If the training is going to start, how long will the classes be? Minimum 35 hours. So we're then going to spread it across many days. But because it's online, we do not take it too long. Maximum 6 hours per day. So it's going to be about 5-6 days of training. So thank you. And with your ATP online training factor, the difference for the time, yes, we're going to find, at least we're going to make it a little bit to be convenient for people across the world, or we can even have multiple sessions. So we can have sessions for the North America if we have many people coming from North America, and then we can have one for Europe and Africa. Absolutely, yes, we're going to consider all of those. Yes, now that the experience matters more than knowledge, how do those of us who are inexperienced in project management pass the exam? For someone who has done MBA before, and okay, sorry, let me quickly say that I've got MBA myself. No, in this case, MBA does not even matter. Okay, is there any special edge the fellow will enjoy? No special edge. Okay, so if you do not have experience, we have another one that we are coming up with, which is practical project management, where you're going to gain experience. And then if you do not have the required experience for PMP, you can take the CAPM and start to practice. The CAPM does not require experience, so yes, so you can take that. And can your training be more practical as to simulate typical work environment? Now, the boot camp for passing the PMP, no. But we have another training for practical. So if you want practical experience, so we can bond the practical experience with that, then that will no longer be 35 hours, that will be many hours. So we have a particular program coming up for that. So please stay in touch with us, or please send us information, and I'm very sure we're going to take note of your name and we're going to come back to you on that. Okay. How can I access the PMI self-study? To access that, that's about $699. Our courses will be cheaper than that. But if you want to access that, it's on their website. It's on PMI.org, so you can find that there as well. For this change in PMP right now, Prince 2 Foundation and Practitioner is the way to go. If you feel like that, to be honest, you lose nothing by going the Prince 2 way at all, because PMI has finally accepted that Prince 2 is a superior. No, they've not really accepted that it's superior. They've just taken all of these other changes in the world. And that's why they've reduced PMBoK to be very, very small, from 1,000 pages to 250 pages. Just for you to know that now we just want to talk about high level. So for you to manage project, you're going to need more than PMBoK. You're going to need many things. You're going to need Prince 2. You're going to need IPMA. You're going to need Agile. You're going to need, so that's what they've just done. They've just accepted that. Guys, we cannot provide a body of knowledge that will cover everything. So we can only stay at that high level and then recommend, Shukuma, please do not write on my screen, and then recommend to people the other books to read or the other things to study in order to improve their competency around project management. All right. Okay. And yes. Does Arabica assist us with completing forms? Absolutely. If you join, if you come to us and you pay our fee, yes, we support you. Absolutely. In fact, the form is even simpler now, only 4 pages. So very, very simple now, better than the past. Would be an administrator in the university and acceptable as a project management experience. Now, we will need to understand what you've been doing as an administrator. So please, I will advise that you call us, or we take note of your name. But one of my colleagues will call you in order to understand your specific situation. So I may not be able to just answer you yes or no, because it depends. All right. So, but somebody from my team will call you to answer that question. I had training with Rebecca last year. Thank you for coming on our training. But because of the changes, so I need the whole ATP course. Or is there any edited version of the people like us? Yes, for the people that had attended the PMP course with us last year, we're coming up with a package, and we're going to let you know very, very soon. As soon as we get the ATP authorization, we're going to come to you before the end of the month. And can you give us short briefing on Lean Six Sigma? Oh, Please, sorry, because of the time, I've even overstretched the time. I will not be able to talk about Lean Six Sigma right now, but we have another webinar coming up very soon on Lean Six Sigma. We're going to send the information to everybody, and please keep an eye out on our channels on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and then you're going to get this information so that you can register for that session, and we can talk about Lean Six Sigma, and another session as well. We're going to talk about the CBAP, that's the business analysis, and some other things. So please keep an eye on many other sessions coming up this year. We're going to have a lot of webinars to just make people aware of these certifications and how they can add value to your career. But for now, for today, this all is just about PMP exam changes. So any chance of change in time to the midday for your training to accommodate? Yes, like I said, absolutely. We're going to try to accommodate different time zones. And even in our webinar going forward as well, we're going to take note of that. And when will Rebecca be ready to start PMP class? Now, we are just waiting for our authorization. I was still in talk with them yesterday. But before the end of the month, we should have our authorization, and we will communicate when we're going to resume training. But for now, we do not want to train anybody without those materials from PMI, because that's the only way we can guarantee that you are receiving quality from us. Right? Is there any changes to the PPD? No changes. I mean, when Rebecca will become ATP, so I know. Yes, we're going to let you know when we become ATP, and definitely we're going to be coming back to you with that. Okay, as soon can the refresher? Yes, like I still do not know the date until we have the authorization. I cannot give you a specific date. Sorry. And one of some of us who prefer physical training, unfortunately, for now, we do not have any plan for physical training for now because of the COVID rules. Will there be classroom training? I prefer that. Not for now. It's going to be online. For now, are you saying I'll be ready for the exam after 5 days? No, I'm not saying after 5 days, because after you attend the training, it's going to take you time to then prepare and practice and read. And again, we read at different paces. So some people read very fast, some people take their time. So I cannot really give a specific date, but at least everything you need to pass the exam, you're going to have everything in 5 days. But to then study and understand everything fully, that cannot happen in 5 days. I'll be lying to you to say that will happen in 5 weeks. Aside from the level of experience, is there any difference between CAPM and PMP? Is the level of difficulty in the exam. The level of difficulty in CAPM exam is just straightforward, easy questions, but PMP is situation-based and scenario-based. So you have to think and you got to reflect on your experience before you can answer those questions. So that's the main difference between CAPM and PMP. Yes, and is Arabica among the authorized? No, we are not ATP yet. We are just in process. We've submitted our application. We're only waiting for them to finalize everything. So we are not yet, but we're going to be very soon. But we used to be rep. Is Arabica among the? No, okay, I've just answered that question. Will you advise we stop reading any material from your past PMP training until the refresher course? No, because everything we have in the old course, everything is still applicable. Everything. It's just the additional. So please do not stop. In fact, the more you understand that, the more you're going to be ready for the new content. So it's not like a new content entirely. It's just the agile part and how PMI is asking the question or how they're going to ask the question. That's the one that you are waiting for. But that something will change from what we have done already? None, guys, none at all. If you attended our old course, no, nothing is changing, guys. Nothing at all. Okay, I think I've been able to answer all the questions here. Thank you very much for taking time to attend our discussion today. I really, really appreciate. And like I said, we're going to be uploading the video on YouTube, and you're going to have access to them later today, and if you need any question, please, you can reach us on through any of those channels on our website. We've got our numbers there. We've got our email address. You can fill a form and you can chat with us. Even offline messages, we're going to respond to you as soon as we can. So thank you very much for your time, and we're going to be sending out information about other events that we have lined up for the rest of the year. And please sign up to learn, at least find out some information for free. And thank you very much for your time. And nice meeting you. And enjoy the rest of your day. And if you're Arsenal fan, we're looking forward to beating Newcastle today. And that is if you have the courage to still support Arsenal. Thank you very much. And I will see you around, guys. And enjoy the rest of your day. Great.